Heyo, Paco. Chris Fikes here with Seed Designs, and I'm here to answer the question of the week. And this week's question is, how much does a logo cost? And I really like this question because every time I answer this question, it gives me a chance to do two things that I enjoy. The first is inform people, and the second is encourage people to think in a new way. So both those things I really enjoy. And the simplest answer I can give to this question is that a logo costs really whatever you want it to cost. Now, I'm not trying to be snarky or elusive or mysterious. I'm just trying to be candid and straightforward. So let me explain a little bit. You have to think of a logo in two ways at the same time. So in other words, you have to consider the kind of the duality of a logo. So first of all, you have to consider that a logo is a product that's being sold by a designer or a creative studio. And on the other side, it is a tool that's going to be used by you and your company or your organization to market yourself, to build an audience of loyal customers, and ultimately to generate revenue. So it's an investment in the success and profitability of your company. So it's a product and it's also a tool for your success. So let me give you an example from another industry. If we were to take a professional photographer, and this photographer is going to go out and buy a new camera for their business. The photographer would go and look at all the cameras available. Now, a professional photographer realizes that any camera body or camera lens on the market is a product that they have to purchase. But at the same time, once they purchase that product, let's say a lens, that lens is going to be a tool that they use to be successful in their business. And the better that tool is, most likely the more successful they will be in their business. So a photographer wouldn't go to Walmart and purchase a $10 disposable throwaway camera and expect that they could go then generate, $100,000 a year revenue with a little disposable camera. That's unrealistic expectations. The more a product costs, the higher your expectations are for that product. And rightfully so. You wouldn't expect the same quality and function from a $5 pair of flip-flops as you would from a $500 pair of all-weather hiking boots. So it goes back to expectations and what you're willing to spend or what you're expecting from the amount of money that you are spending. What you're willing to spend, what are your expectations? Are your expectations lining up? Are they realistic expectations for the amount of money that you are wanting to spend? So for example, are you expecting $3,000 results from a $50 product? Or on the other hand, maybe you're trying to buy a $3,000 product for $50. Either way you go, both of those options are going to produce pretty poor outcomes. So once you understand these things, and once you see that a logo is both a product that you purchase and it's a tool to help you be successful, now you have the opportunity to ask yourself a new question. And that new question is, how much should you invest in a logo? If a logo is a tool that will truly aid in the success and the profitability of your organization, then how important is it to you to make that tool as good as it can possibly be? So, okay, I know I still haven't answered the obvious question some of you are asking, and that question is, how much does Seed Designs charge for a logo? So to be clear, Seed Designs is not a discount warehouse. We don't sell $5 flip-flops. The designs that we create for our clients are unique, they're expressive, and as I like to say, they are super fresh. They are high-end, high-quality products. So in other words, they are valuable. So we don't sell $50 logos. We don't even sell $500 logos. Our logos start at about $2,000 and go up from there. Now that probably sounds like a lot to most of you, but let me give you one more thing to think about. When setting a budget for a logo or a brand development for your company, or your business, or your organization, not only should you consider how much you want to invest in your success, but also how much you want the designer to invest. You're hiring a creative professional, whether it's an individual, a freelancer, or a studio like Seed Designs. You are asking them to invest themselves in the success of your business because this product, this logo, or this brand is going to help you be successful. So things that you want them to invest are things like time, effort, research, investigation, experimenting, revisions, and focus. You're asking them to help you create the symbol of your company, the icon to represent you to the world. So how much do you want them to give? Do you want them to be excited to bring their whole team on board and ready to give you everything they've got? Or do you want them to rush through the work so they can get to the next client and ignore your phone calls? How much are you wanting to invest, but also how much are you wanting the designer to invest? Because that's just as important. So one more example to illustrate this point, and then we'll be done. It's like house cleaning. If I was to bring someone over to my house and I said, I want them to clean my entire house, and I say I'll pay them $50 to clean the entire house, top to bottom, spick and span for $50. Well, what would my expectation be? How clean could the house really be for only $50? And how much would they invest in cleaning the house for only $15? Versus if I went to someone and I said, hey, I want my house to be absolutely spotless, every single nook and cranny, and I will pay you $2,000 to do that. Well, now, what should my expectations be? How clean should my house be? And how much more invested will the people cleaning the house, how much more invested will they be in the effort and the time and the willingness that they give to make it truly spotless? So how much does a logo cost? Well, my original answer really is true. It costs whatever you want it to cost. The next question is, what do you need to be successful? Do you need flip-flops or hiking boots? All right, thanks for joining us, and I hope this was helpful and informative and maybe gave you a new way to think about things.